consciously eating.
Another day, another video, and we gonna watch Slammer versus BeatFlitz, the best of three, played in week 3 of the Pro League Season 3. Very exciting series, I think, very anticipated as well, and a lot of pressure on BeatFlitz's shoulders, because to not lose this week, he could win 2-0. And Josh's only needed to get 1 point, I think, and then you would win the week. But if he's managing to get at least 1 point here, his team is still in, and Josh's can still overpower Guinness and take it for the week. But alas, we will see if it works out. And we're gonna watch it. I actually brought someone today to help me casting, who is from BeatFlitz team, one of the members. So yeah, nice to have you, Heavy. And yeah, have you, I don't know, were you involved in the preparation from BeatFlitz for this match and the series?
With BeatFlitz, minorly. I kind of gave him some advice on how I thought he should play against Slammer, and in general, I also kind of showed him the 2-den build that I've been working on for the past week. But most of my preparation went towards Joshers. We played lots and lots of games. But yeah, basically just kind of gave BeatFlitz some general advice on what I thought would be good against Slammer and what I think Slammer's tendencies are, and that BeatFlitz just needs to keep those things in mind and play confidently.
You may want to help your the next opponents of Slammer's team and giving his advice to us and the whole world if you want to.
What do you mean against Slammer?
Yeah, what do you think is his kryptonite?
Well, he'll work on it a lot if I say and he watches. But
well, the game's already played, so
yeah. I mean, I've found, at least in my latter games, when I pressure him early, he, like with things like my like a more economic 2-den that I've been working on, I feel like he over defends. He also does things like worker scouting, which I don't think is, in my mind, I don't find it necessary to defend like the cheeses that I've like run across. So I think that can put him behind a bit, just being overly safe. And then on top of that, when he gets pressured, I find he tends to over defend. And that could be great if they're like committing. So basically what I told BeatFlitz is just please don't all in into him. Like just pressure him early. You like, as long as you control well, you should get like a lead going after the early game. At least that's been my experience. I also found that my the Wolf micro against Slammer's Raiders was not too bad. It's not like trying to fight against Square Root or something where he just has like OP Raider micro. Square Root's Raiders are fucking, they're on something.
Yeah, they're on cocaine, 100%.
Yeah, they're crazy. But
so far
basically
it looks
just
good.
tried to advise him to not all. Yeah, I mean, this is. See, I think BeatFlitz is doing okay.
Really? He lost three wolves already, and he's about to get the first kill on a raider, I think.
But if he gets this raider, it's really, that raider is so low.
Yeah, and now it's
the thing is, Slammer's expo timing isn't that quick. The main thing from BeatFlitz's side that I didn't like is after he started his natural, it took him a while to start his next worker. So what you're supposed to do this build is typically you make wolves to 28 supply, and you drop the natural, and that leaves you 2 free supply for the 2 workers while you wait for the castle to finish.
I see.
So basically, you should be at 14 workers when this castle finishes, or just about. But he's going to be down a worker, because he just kind of forgot to make the worker while microing, it looks like. The other thing is now, yeah, he has killed 3 raiders, or not 3 raiders, he's killed the 1 raider for 5 wolves.
Yeah, that's
I had the units, the total units tab pulled up when I made that folly. But yeah, the 1 raider for 5 wolves is pretty bad. The other thing with this build is it is a more economic 2-den, and you really can't afford to lose the wolves unless you're like doing really well against the raiders and actually killing them. But
I think at that point it's already lost for BeatFlitz, because he's gonna face 3 or more raiders soon with only wolves. I think it's
I wouldn't
fine.
I wouldn't call this position lost, but I wouldn't call it like a happy position. And it's such a big deal. The retention of the wolves, like I said, unless you're really trading well against the raiders, the 5 wolves for the 1 raider is a big deal. Like if there's 5 more wolves here, he's actually able to chase these raiders like across the map.
Yeah.
And granted, we can't have a miracle. Like if we give BeatFlitz back his 5 wolves and we give Slammer back his 1 raider, like I still think that's a fine position.
Yeah.
For BeatFlitz.
So maybe BeatFlitz was a bit too committed to killing this 1 raider, and therefore lost too many wolves. He's more about killing and not about saving the wolves, right? That's like what we see.
Yes. The other issue too is like, I mean, I kind of showed him this build like a day and a half before the games. So it's like, and I didn't really get to go over it too much with him. Like I kind of showed him, I sent him like a couple of replays and kind of told him a few things about it, but that's not the same thing as like playing it a bunch yourself and kind of learning it. So I think internalizing how important the wolf retention is, and I've had to lose so many games against like Weird Rat to like really understand that just keeping the wolves alive and on good health is like more important than most other things.
You want to send them back once they hit orange color, right? Like in a hit points. Like if they are orange, you send them back. And you
in the early stage,
yeah.
In the early stage, yeah. And this is a situation where just looking at the units lost, it's getting really ugly. Though very fine on resources mined. Like you can see even like this 2-den is very economic. BeatFlitz he even forgot to build a worker going into the natural stage. Very even on total income. The other thing is BeatFlitz has seen no attempt at a 3rd for a very long time.
Yeah, that's
so even before this wolf got in, which is very good that he slipped this wolf in, but I would have said he should have known that something crazy like layers or something wacky was coming his way before the wolf actually saw.
Yeah, but that's something of your strengths. Your ability to read the game or what your opponent is doing is insane with you. You always sniff things out, like you would expect the dragons now, or at least something from the air or something. Well,
sneaky. I just think this advanced workshop should have been done a long time, and I don't think like I'm not doing any kind of magical. Like I'm not smelling anything crazy. It's just like when my natural is like almost done, and I see very clearly that they aren't even attempting to take theirs. Like there's no something's up, like big time.
Yeah.
You know. So that's generally like your big tell to like, to get your advanced workshop and to get your towers rolling. And typically speaking, if it's a heavy, like a committed ground all-in, you can tell, 1, just based on the units, and 2, if it's a very committed Rax all-in, you'll see the natural castle will stop flashing that it's building workers for a time.
You think BeatFlitz can hold his dragons now? I mean, he knows it's coming. He's also getting the advanced workshop. I guess the towers will also help, but is it enough to really deal with it? Because usually Slimmer doesn't stop building dragons now. He's just pumping them out like crazy.
I think in a map like this, that's this spread out, it favors the dragons very heavily, much like Sylvan Charm or something.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, dragons are super momentum heavy. I think if you know they're coming ahead of time, you have the ballistas ready to go. You can crush the dragon player with a strong timing if you were ready. If you're not ready though, I think it spirals slowly out of control, generally speaking.
Slammer's kind of suiciding his raiders in the 3rd from BeatFlitz. You think that's a great idea to go in there with the raiders and just lose them? Because I think in these numbers, I mean, it's 5 left. I think they are still valuable.
I think they're still valuable. Also, what time are you at? I just paused. It sounds like you're a bit before.
I'm 8:42, 43, 45.
Okay, I'll resume soon. Okay. So, I don't hate it. I think there was a moment there, if I had to put myself in Slammer's shoes, I think he was targeting down the workers, or maybe there was a moment where he thought he could just like use the dragons and the raiders to kill the tower, and then the wolves showed up. It's hard to say. I don't hate it. I think he's in such a dominating position with the dragons, and he sees that the ballista is so late that you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't mind like sacking units even for the worker damage.
Yeah, that was my idea. Yeah, that's. I mean, you want to have dragons now, not raiders anymore. I think the dragons are just better now, anyways.
I think he's just forcing like his leverage on the economy.
Yeah, insane harass on the workers.
Yeah, I mean this is just a rough spot. The thing is that like one tower per base is just not enough. Like once there's more than two, like I think the one tower per base is fine as like the very temporary hey get away when there's one or two dragons. But the second there's more than two dragons, and even sometimes when there's just two dragons, the tower's not enough. The tower's screaming for help. Like it's wondering where the ballista is.
Yeah. But now the ballista is there, but I think BeatFlitz doesn't have the upgrade yet. And I think the upgrade is so important, especially with dealing with dragons.
It is, and losing this airship, and the other thing is, it's we're talking about 2 layers, and BeatFlitz only made 1 advanced workshop, and it was late. So I think you can get away with the 1 advanced workshop against 2 layer on 2 base, if you sniff it out and you build the advanced workshop very quickly.
Yeah.
If it's me personally, and I kind of get a whiff of this late, and I'm maybe a little bit unsure, and I've had the 3rd base longer than my opponent. You better believe I'm putting down 2 advanced workshops.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Because like you just can't, like things like that airship getting sniped doesn't maybe seem that bad, but that's a whole production round on your advanced workshop that has to go into another one.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah. I'm 100% agree. But I'm guilty of this mistake as well in the past. I don't know why, but I always thought that advanced workshops are kind of a waste. Like I don't see them as or in the past I didn't see them as a full production building. So
hey man, advanced workshop is 2 of the most overpowered units in the game, in it.
Yeah, but I had like a wrong understanding. Like I just learned it wrongly. So yeah, I absolutely agree. And putting down 2 advanced workshops is so much faster, and you can deal with so much more air in such a short time. And again, in general, like it wins you the game back, because having 4 ballistas out now. Just imagine like 4 ballistas with the upgrades, 2 airships. Like there's no way in hell Slammer can do this to the natural from BeatFlitz.
Oh man, this poor little wolf snake squad. It's not even that much, and they're on like a suicide mission.
Yeah.
To go pull the dragons back. I just want to know, I like Slammer's dragon movement. The 2 control groups, one on the south and then kind of one on the east. He checked each 4th location as he swung into each 3rd and natural. I think that's just good. He's just really gearing up to deal with whatever he needs to. He's got good SimCity in the natural.
And he also,
Slammer always has good SimCity.
Yeah, I mean it's these two groups of dragons is, I mean, it's so nice because he killed the airship earlier, meaning BeatFlitz only has 1 airship to carry around the ballistas, and he's flying to the natural, then the dragons leave there, then he's flying back to the 3rd location because the dragons hit there again, and so it's a ping pong game. Really nasty to deal with for BeatFlitz. I mean this little squad you mentioned with the wolf and the snakes, I don't know, even if BeatFlitz can take down the space, I think it doesn't really change much.
No, and for this entire time, even up to this point, the total mined gold was actually shockingly even between the 2. Yeah, obviously, it's been slowly going more and more in Slammer's favor until the last minute and a half. Slammer's income has been drastically better after he did the last couple of dragon dives on the worker. He kind of cut BeatFlitz's worker count in half, really forcing an all-in. But I think this game has been a losing struggle ever since BeatFlitz kind of got like such a late sniff of the dragons, so to say.
With earlier scouting, he could have won it. Okay.
Yeah, and I still don't think you need to see the layers necessarily.
Just the fortress is enough.
Oh, not the fortress, just the third timing.
Oh, okay.
Like I just think Advanced Workshop isn't all that expensive, especially when you see you're going up against just raiders with the wolves.
So it's like an automatic reaction when you see no third.
Yeah, you see no third, and raiders are kind of expensive and take a while to build. And if you see kind of that many, like you can kind of just know like where their money is.
Mm.
Um, and Advanced Workshop doesn't set you back too much. And dragons are so momentum heavy, like I'm saying. If the difference between the first couple dragons showing up and being able to like run around and poke at your workers and set your economy back, and the first dragons showing up and you have a ballista, you have two ballistas and like an airship waiting for them, like the game state is entirely like warped by that interaction.
But that's why you don't like the dragons, because you kind of depend on your opponent to not scout it in time.
Yeah, and that's I think it's very very easy to scout when they're doing it so fast, because it's just like it's so expensive and it takes so long to get into. I think it's very easy to figure out, and so and it's very vulnerable then to a strong timing attack with ballistas and workers with repair. That's why I'm not a fan of it. It just feels sketchy to me. But if you get away with it, I mean, as we're seeing in this game, like it's. And I can't say that I've definitely like fallen victim to it.
Yeah, it's very easy to fall victim.
Yeah, if they get away with it and the dragons start rolling out and you weren't ready, you're gonna have a bad next 10 minutes. Let me tell you that. BeatFlitz can say that.
Yeah. And the one ballista in his main is not really helping.
Yeah, and the thing is though, I mean, like the dragons just don't matter anymore. He's completely gotten such a massive economic lead. It's just irrelevant.
But it always feels nice to kill dragons. So
yeah, it does.
It's really like really. It's kind of satisfying to just hear them, the sound when it's dying, especially when you are in so much trouble because of them. But I think, yeah, as you pointed out, like economically, BeatFlitz is so far behind, he cannot really claw back into this game. Like I don't see a way. With the werewolves now on the map for Slammer, and he still has I think seven dragons left. So and there's no way I see for him to take back. And I think the moment he realizes that Slammer is taking a fifth right now, and it's
I mean, it's very clear. Slammer has been in control of the game for a long time now, and is just being very cautious and not wanting to screw up his free win in this situation after the dragons have given him such a huge amount of leverage in this game.
Well, it's the right thing. It's the right thing to call to do in this kind of situation, because it's a game where it matters. So why would you try to end it rather than play for advantage? So it's something you do very well as well in games.
I sometimes say that I think I sometimes play a little overly cautious too. I don't think it's usually bad though.
No, it's the right thing. As I said, I mean it's the right thing. You don't want to end games quickly, but I'm in general like more impatient, I would say. In general, like I am, and so that kind of swaps over into how I play, and then I just overcommit or do silly things. Even though I'm ahead, I manage to lose it then. So yeah, I really like that Slimmer is taking his time again.
Definitely. I mean, just like a summary of I think BeatFlitz is being a little overeager with the initial wolves, and Slammer kind of getting some map control with the raiders. And the other thing too is it's a little harder to maybe necessarily check the third timing when you are so pushed back in your own naturals. BeatFlitz kind of got out scouting wolves on the map kind of late, kind of saw what was going on a little late, and then suddenly there's dragons, and he only puts down one advanced workshop and doesn't add more towers, and then I think it really just kind of spirals from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's just things you. I mean, looking at this first game, I think it just shows a little slip up, but not necessarily a huge difference in skill in general between these two players, right? It's not like
Yeah, I mean,
Slimmer was ahead from the get-go. He was kind of outclassing him in any way. It was just a mistake from BeatFlitz and a more solid display from Slammer, maybe.
yeah, I mean, it looked like Slimer just, I mean, he did his big worker scout that he likes to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just played he just played a very cautious game through and through, and I think just kind of believed that he would just play really safe in the early game and follow it up with some like two base pressure like he likes to do, which I think is a way of inadvertently keeping him safe. You don't necessarily need to see what your opponent is doing if you're rushing dragons yourself,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
So I think he's just keeping himself very safe the whole time and not letting um, like BeatFlitz have a chance to do anything dirty back to him,
Yeah.
which is probably the right call.
Yeah, I think this scouting is also like very important to note because Slimmer is, I think, not that great when it comes to holding cheeses, and that's his way of being safe or being able to handle
He
it.
over defends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he
so
over. I
he
find he over defends, and then he. The other thing too is I think it's better just to accept that Slimer is also just going to do some kind of two base pressure into a macro game, and I think the easiest way to deal with that is just to have good scouting and then to absorb it and just to be ahead in economy,
yeah.
going forward. But it's harder said than done, like
Yeah,
100%.
100, yeah, absolutely. Slimmer is not to take him lightly. Like he's a beast. I really like he's not his decision making, his game plan very thought out. I mean, he's a very long player, pretty much from the beginning of Little War Game. So yeah, he knows his stuff. But yeah, let's move on to the second game. Okay, here we go. Second game. Um, I think this map favors Beast. I would say. I think because it's bigger. Usually you take longer ferrying over stuff or flying over with dragons and stuff. But in general, the space you have is great for wolf and snake stuff. So I think it's a beast favorite map. Yeah, but I think even though maps might be favorable for one faction, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can always kind of free win when you play beast on this map. But it's just easier to play, I think, and easier to get advantageous positions and encirclements and stuff you do or you want to do with beast, for example. So yeah, maybe you are of a different opinion, but this map kind of, yeah, for me is a beast map. Not sure if you like it or not.
I'm under the opinion that every single map is a good map for dragons and catapults.
Yeah, okay, maybe because the units are good. But
Yeah.
on Sylvan, I mean, you have quite a distance to cover to get to the other
Yeah.
side of the map. Even though you can fly diagonally and stuff, I think dragons and also catapults in airships take a bit longer than usual.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the dragons just being faster than most other units kind of still it works to their advantage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't necessarily love the see. I find Sylvian Charm or not Sylvian Charm as well and Stream Junction
Yeah.
to be both incredible proxy Rax maps. And I really don't like the choice to go castle first. I know this map is because it's so bad for a standard build, like a regular 1 Rax Raider and a regular 1 Den at home can't do anything to a castle first. So everyone that I run into seems to play castle first on these maps, and I
Yeah, but
just
that's
proxy 1 Rax
yeah, you
every
can
game.
you can actually abuse that. Yeah.
And the issue is there's so many places to put it. Slammer scouted at like he sent this worker out at like the 50-second mark and
Yeah.
looked everywhere, and all I could think to myself was like,
How
even
much
when he
gold?
find
How
well,
much gold he's losing?
it's a lot of gold, and he's playing castle first, and all I could think to myself was by the time his worker got to the spot that I normally like to put my proxy, I just thought in my head, the barracks is already done. You're already dead. Like it's castle
Yeah,
first. You're dead.
yeah. Not sure
Or
if
like
it really
close to
would
it.
help to find it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're finding out that you're dead. It's,
Yeah,
or at least like, or you're not about to have a very fun next couple of minutes.
yeah. At least I mean, 1 Rex is actually enough if you properly control the raiders. Don't lose them in a silly way. Go too hard for kills or anything, just for damage. And just
I'm under the opinion that they're more dead to the proxy 1 racks, and it's actually they should be happier if it's 2 racks, because if it's the 2 racks, it's still going to be a hard hold. But if they hold, they can actually, like, they have the castle and they can actually probably play that out. But against the 1 racks, the expo is like a pretty normal time for racks.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very thin margin for error. And with the castle first, I find it's like damn near impossible to not take a game-ending amount of damage against the proxy 1 racks.
Yeah. What do you think of BeatFlitz' idea? I mean, Slammer's putting down 2 more dens, and BeatFlitz is upgrading one of his dens to a werewolf den. Pretty early, I would say, but I think that's the idea behind it, right?
I feel like it's a very greedy build out of kind of each of them. Well, not as much Slammer. I think the castle first is a little greedy. But I think his choice to go into the 4 dens, and this is what Slammer does. It's the 2 base, like, I'm going to hit you, and I'm gonna hit you with something, like, you need to be ready for it, and then I'm gonna take like a late third, and we'll go from there. And I don't think that's a bad way to play a little war game. I think oftentimes, as long as you keep up on worker production, the 3rd base player, their eco isn't like so much higher. It's not like the difference in StarCraft where the workers build so fast. But
Slimmer
I
knows.
don't mind this board then.
Slimmer saw the werewolf den now, and I'm not sure. Let me check his vision. Yeah, and he saw the advanced workshop. So Slimmer knows what's coming. Is BeatFlitz now kind of screwed because it's been seen?
Well, as much as it's been seen, it's almost like a blind counter in a way. I think BeatFlitz's build is very greedy to go for the castle first, and then before he really had any vision, he like already pretty much made his werewolf den. So I think it was, in my personal eyes, kind of greedy, but I think he got away with it. I think Slammer showed up and went, "Oh God, damn it!" like.
But there's no advanced
there's
workshop.
already a werewolf den.
Like Slammer is not doing anything. Like there's no ballista coming in anytime soon.
The fact that Slammer hasn't put down an advanced workshop blows my mind. That's the very moment that his wolf saw the werewolf den, that his screen should have flicked back to put down an advanced workshop.
Yeah, I'm wondering about it. I mean, there was money. He has the money. He can do that. But instead, he goes for a workshop. I guess he can just go for Gatling guns, and I guess he thinks a tower is enough. But honestly, a werewolf in your worker line, smashing 1 time, getting picked up, and coming back to smash another time, the tower is not enough, and the Gatlings will not deal enough damage as well. So I'm really like this airship is coming, and
I agree.
and he's not ready. Like Slammer is not ready.
I agree. I even think the 1 workshop is maybe an underreaction. I wouldn't have minded like an advanced workshop and 2 workshops.
Yeah.
It's also the problem with this 4 den thing is, I think it's fine if BeatFlitz is playing standard, but BeatFlitz was not playing standard. He really, really rushed out this werewolf den into the drops, which I think is fine on this map.
Like the tower is not ready, and the natural is gonna get smashed. Bye workers.
Yeah.
Oof, that looks very rough for Slammer. Oh my God, it could be over right now. Like
it's a real nightmare scenario for Slammer. Such a fast werewolf drop.
Yeah, and look at the wolves from Slammer. They don't do nothing. Like no damage. There is a werewolf waiting. There's a tower shooting. There are enough workers around. Like there's nothing Slammer can do on this side of the map. Like what is he doing with his wolves there? And look at his mining. Like there's no mining on his natural. And the werewolf is still running around and smashing stuff, and isn't even down to 90% of life. Like, and there's nothing to deal with the airship. Oh my God! I think Slammer just lost the game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really not even like Slammer's fault at this point. It came down to him not immediately making the advanced workshop. That was his fault, not immediately making the advanced workshop and not respecting like the werewolf drop enough.
Yeah.
But aside from that, though, like in terms of just what he can do now, I mean, there's not a lot he can do. Like at this point, his mistake happened 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. I think it's a downward spiral. Yeah, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, Very similar to the dragon thing, except I think Slammer had the fair warning much earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
He was in time with the scouting. Scouting was okay. I was a bit worried for BeatFlitz actually, because I thought, well, now he knows what do you do, BeatFlitz. When you come with the airship, there will be a ballista ready. But no, in fact, now BeatFlitz comes with another round of, and actually 2 werewolves. Oh my god, this main is so dead.
Yeah, and I mean you can really see the difference, and if you look at the total gold mined, I mean you just see what the lost mining time does alone to the total income. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah, 1,000 gold already.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it translates into such a big lead.
Yeah, the Gatling guns. I mean, 4 Gatling guns are nice and all when you deal with werewolves, but in general, it's not enough.
Gonna lose this. He might lose this airship. Oh, okay, wow, it just barely got away. I mean,
well, even I think
a little ahead.
Yeah, I think even if he loses the werewolf and the airship, it's not a big deal. He's so ahead still.
Yeah, it's like 300 minerals up against what his 1,300 lead gold.
And so many dead workers and stuff like. It's insane. I think. Absolutely
I mean, very similar to what we saw last game. A very serious tech advantage into a spiraling game.
And I mean, right now, BeatFlitz kind of stopped producing werewolves. I think he's fine with the damage he caused. Because he's a base up. He can just transfer a worker over to a 3rd. And, okay, he's actually flying over 1 more werewolf. But that's about it. I mean, he can just play from here a normal game and win it, like, comfortably, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Slammer didn't respect the werewolf drop enough.
Good question.
I mean, my only thought, like my only redeeming thought to him not respecting it is, like, maybe he overthought it and was like, I saw this werewolf den so early, there's no way he'll actually make the werewolf drops. Like,
yeah, well,
you know, maybe I doubt it, but that's my only.
Yeah, but that would make any sense in it. That would make a bit sense, honestly. That would be okay.
Like, yeah, I think maybe there's a chance he tricked himself.
Yeah.
Like, my opponent sees that I saw his thing, therefore he won't do it. But BeatFlitz still does it.
Yeah. Good for him though.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you've already spent that much on the werewolf den. You have to. Like, that werewolf den was finished. You're committed.
Yeah.
And I think Slammer should have known that.
Yeah, this werewolf didn't do much.
No, but just the income difference says it all.
I think I wouldn't even have tried to drop another werewolf, but it's okay. He's so
I don't mind it. I probably would have tried. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't mind when you're dominating so hard to just like keep doing the thing that's like gotten you in the position. Just keep dropping, just like until they really show you that they're ready.
Yeah, on their toes as well. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, he didn't really do much with it. It just died. I think 1 or 2 hits. Like, it was like nothing really done. But
it happens.
No, I mean, it's 80 supply, wolf, snake. I would just skip the snakes, I think. Only, I don't know, 6 or 7 snakes is fine, but that's a bit too much for my liking.
Really? I like the heavier snakes. I like it.
Interesting.
Personally, I think they add a lot of needed DPS. I think as long as you have enough wolves to tank, the snakes are a shocking amount of firepower. I think sometimes people go a little too heavy on the wolf to snake ratio, and the wolves kind of block each other and don't like.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I know that, and it's hard to micro them properly. That they kind of all get damage in. I know.
Yeah. However, I will say this is a pretty sad fight here at the 3rd and natural. At least at the natural, I think there's a little bit more work being done.
Let's see. I'm at 11:10 right now. 11,
I'm at 11.
11:12. Yet now he's engaging. 11:15 we have now.
Yeah, just tell me unpause at like 11:40.
Okay, 40. All right, I'm at 20 now, and I see the Gatling guns moving around nicely and shutting down the snakes. Because snakes die so quickly. I'm not a huge fan of them. And yeah, it's indeed a set fight, but I think in the main, he's gonna drop... No, in the natural, I think. Yeah, now I'm at 40, 11:39, 11:40, 11:41. Yeah, now, I mean, he caused some damage. And he killed, I think, a few more workers. But he also lost a lot of units. Maybe my approach would be different now. Because, I mean, BeatFlitz knows he's ahead, right? So there's no way in hell he doesn't know. So I don't see a reason sending out troops like that. I would have one big ball and just move it forward with a move. And then micro the rest.
I don't hate it in a way. Like BeatFlitz knows that there's no fourth yet. And he has his fourth. He has amazing saturation. Yeah. He's crippled. I mean, much like Slammer was being careful. I don't think that move into the natural in the third was that careful, but I think with Wolf Snake, it's not as a big deal. Slammer was using werewolves, and he was much more careful with them. Yeah. With the Wolf Snake, especially when you have a workshop transition like BeatFlitz has, I think the Wolf Snake is very expendable.
Yeah, they're not very expensive, right?
Yeah, that attack to me was almost like BeatFlitz being like, okay, what's your army composition? I'm gonna come back again with the counter.
Yeah. Makes sense. But how do you counter it? Like, what's the counter to Gatling guns and wolves? Catapults? Is that the answer?
I think Wolf Snake Catapult is exactly how I would do it, probably, in this position.
I see.
I think catapults are really good against kind of both of them, and Wolf Snake against the Wolf Gatling is honestly going to be like pretty even. Maybe even favored for the Wolf Snake player.
But aren't you worried about your catapults being taken out by the wolves too quickly?
What? No, because you've got your own Wolf Snake to body block.
Ah, yeah, okay, so you kind of surround your catapults then.
Yeah, you're just there to protect the catapults. I think it's very important to have the catapults on their own hotkey, separate from the Wolf Snake, and then you just keep spreading them and moving forward and zoning them back, and then your Wolf Snake just kind of doesn't let them get close, and it's very hard for them to engage into you.
Yeah, I like the idea to just use airships to drop another time, but this time it's not werewolves, but instead it's a catapult, which I like. The catapult addition, I like it, and wolves and snakes. But more snakes, actually. So, yeah, I think that's a really, really great idea, honestly, from BeatFlitz. And at the same time, he's moving also the main army. I guess he will hit the third again. So even more apart now. And Slammer will have a hard time dealing with that, I think. Because he has only one kind of army together. And the Gatling guns alone will not do that great. And the wolves alone also will not do that great. But they are both on 4 base now. I mean, the mining difference is still 5k or something. But in general, it's okay.
I really dislike that that BeatFlitz has yet to take a 5th, because I mean, you should really know at this point your main is almost mined out. And it's one of those things where if you don't have the 5th is almost like it's like the
next main.
It's just it's insurance.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where if you've been ahead all game and then your main mine's out, but your opponent's got their 4th up and their main mine's out, and you're suddenly now each on 3 base, if they stabilize, it's a pretty even game.
Yeah.
So by just taking that 5th so much earlier, it's not like BeatFlitz hasn't had the money to. And I think we finally see the workers from the main going to go make a base, but this should have happened a while ago. Obviously still hugely favored for BeatFlitz. It's just, I think, an unneeded slip up that really could have secured him a much more stable position.
But I think this kind of push he's preparing into the 4th base from Slammer now kind of is deciding the game for good. That's really... But he's very heavy on catapults, man. He doesn't really have enough units to really...
Well, the issue is if you look at the production, he's got 12 supply tied up in werewolves. And he's got another 10 supply worker leads, so we've got 30 supply of fighting units that just aren't here. And
yeah, now he kind of gets surrounded, but I think it's still fine. The catapults will still deal a lot of damage, but also the Gatling guns are kind of left alone. I think maybe BeatFlitz gets cleaned up here.
Yeah, and I think the target. I don't think the catapults were target firing as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a situation where you really want to be clicking on the Gatlings with the catas.
Because the Gatling guns are the damage dealers, right? So in this composition from Slammer,
Yes.
that's what's dealing damage. So yeah, BeatFlitz kind of losing all his forces here, and flying away with the airships. Oh, nice!
Yeah.
Look at the middle of the map. He positioned 3 birds there to have the full vision, so everything comes across. He sees it. Only on the edges he's not. Nice, like it.
Yeah, I mean, with the 5th secure, I'm much less worried. I still believe the 5th should have been a lot earlier, but with it being secured and towered, I mean, the position once again for BeatFlitz is
he's still
rock
ahead.
solid.
Yeah, he's still ahead. But still, I mean, losing this fight was a bit unnecessary. Also, he kind of threw away the units the first time he pushed into the 3rd and the natural. But he's still dealing a lot of damage to the workers and is harassing very well, I think. I really like that he's simultaneously fighting Slammer on different sides of the map. So really kudos to him.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of allowing Slammer to stabilize, because he just defends it and wins the fights, and then we move on. And I think at some point, which is a bit weird about RTS games in general, at some point the player who got harassed more has more gold left in his mines of his side of the map. And that, in the end, if the games go long enough, can actually win them the game, because they can still mine and the opponent not. So BeatFlitz at some point really needs to overpower Slammer here and win and close the game. And Slammer is known to be very persistent.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is tough. I mean, I've been in Slammer's shoes. This is a very frustrating game for Slammer, because he's been behind for the majority of this game, and it's just one of those things where I think it's like a combination of Slammer being very resilient and your opponent kind of not knowing exactly how to finish you. And you're just really, as Slammer, you are just trying so hard to get your supply close to maxed so you can be stable and you can secure a foothold in another base, which he's kind of doing now finally. But every single time Slammer starts to get a supply up, BeatFlitz comes in, hammers it back down, but can't kill him. And if Slammer ever gets maxed, I'll be very worried for BeatFlitz, but I just don't think BeatFlitz is gonna let it happen.
So it's the micro, you think, deciding at the moment, or is it some kind of army composition? Because Slammer is getting his own catapults now, so the compositions will be very, very similar.
It's hard to say exactly, but I think just some of the moves earlier on when Slammer was on 3 bases, I felt like the game could have been ended. But that's just it's hard to say for sure.
That's how many werewolves are there? 6 werewolves and a lot of catapults. 7? Are that 7? No, 6 catapults, 6 catapults and 6 werewolves. That's crazy amount of units. That's hard to deal with. And on the other side of the map, a little wolf snake run by. So yeah, Slammer needs to decide here which base he needs to let go, and apparently
BeatFlitz losing a lot of workers though on the middle base to the cata drop. He just realized after losing 8 workers.
I'm not seeing it, but I will now switch to it. I'm at 80, 43, 45, 45, 46.
I'll pause and wait a little. The other thing we saw is the corner base from Slammer that got taken out still has 4,000 gold on it, so that's a huge blow. And the middle base for Slammer still isn't up though. If he's able to get the middle base up and retake the right side base, he has still a really strong worker count. So if he ever gets those bases up, he has the worker count to mine from all of them.
Yeah, but now the dragons come, BeatFlitz dragons will kind of be the nail in the coffin now.
Yes, I just don't think there's anything to deal with them. We've got how many advanced workshops? None from Slammer?
2. A second is building and
2?
one.
Oh, a second is building? Okay, I missed the one in the main. So yeah, we've got... And the one in the main hasn't even started a ballista yet.
Yeah.
From what I can see.
Yeah,
so,
it's over.
Yeah, definitely over. And this is tough. I mean, the dragon switch is such a killer because your opponent is just trying to hang on with all of their money, and then they don't have the. Yeah.
And look at this, the dragon's just raining down fire on the workers. And now a nice idea by BeatFlitz. Look at this, he's killing the one advanced workshop Slammer has. If this is going down, it's really over, like 100%.
Yeah. That is 100% the move to do. I think when you show up with a huge dragon switch like that, you ignore everything else in the game, and it's not an RTS game anymore. You're just finding the advanced workshops and killing them because
Yes.
they won't have an answer for the dragons.
I think Slammer is realizing it, yeah, surrendering soon. Because there's just... Like, he can't even build anything attacking air, so... Except snakes. And yeah, there it is. So we have the GG. Yeah, nice game by BeatFlitz. But also a great showing by Slammer, like how long he can stay in a game where he's basically losing all the time. Very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it before. I think we saw a game on. We're about to go into Ice Cold, but I remember a game on Ice Cold against DC that he played that he just wouldn't die.
Yeah,
Um,
Slammer made it very hard for DC to kill him. Was a slugfest, but was also like a very, very great replay or great game in general. All right. If we
Yeah.
take a look, like, not sure if you are in the replay anymore, but I will definitely point it out in the cast, because if you notice, BeatFlitz had 5 birds, and he positioned them in a way across the map that he had more vision, and I really love that. Like, really, I really love that, because it's such a great idea to just enable and use the birds. I mean, it's 5 supply, so it could be 5 workers or a raider and a wolf, but just having this vision is, I think, very valuable, and I really like that he's kind of using the birds for that. Also, I think he's using airships as well to do the same, and I love this. I love this. I hope
Definitely,
more people do that.
it's not the first time I've seen BeatFlitz do it. I like using houses and a couple of wolves more
Mm,
personally,
mm,
but I think it's definitely I think it's not bad, and I think it's a pretty cute tactic to use, and not in a demeaning way. I think
mm.
it can be very valuable, and much like soldiers can come across my house and kill it and walk on. Beatflitz's bird is just gonna shit on them, and he's gonna screech at the soldiers as they walk by.
That's the
Um,
spirit. All right. So let's move on to game 3, I think. All right, here we go. Game 3. So far, the series has been giving us a lot to talk about, but also the games were kinda decided by little mistakes or somewhat bigger mistakes, wrong decision making or wrong reactions, underreactions, overreactions. What do you think we see in game 3? Like, what do you think is the player's mindset right now, going into the third game of a series? Maybe from experience, if you have to play a best of 3, what when it's 1-1, there's, I think, something like you try even harder now because you know you can beat the other guy. You know what I mean? So for BeatFlitz, it would
oh,
be maybe, well, I'm the underdog, but I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna make this upset happen. And Slimmer maybe more on the lookout now, thinking about the game before maybe.
I think Slammer's been on the lookout since game one. I think every single game Slammer's played, with maybe he's been very safe. I think maybe he thought Castle first is safer than it is, or I'm just not sure. Maybe he's willing to take that small risk in the best of three. Um, but I don't know. I just think they're both going to play safe and just try and play out their game and see what happens. But I don't know. I just hope we don't see such a spiraling game. The last two games were really just decided by the tech really
Mhm.
just choking the other player out for like, you know, 4 or 5 minutes straight or longer and until they're pretty much dead.
Mhm.
Um,
This worker I see from BeatFlitz, it's moving very far out. I don't think he's doing the same like Slammer is doing, scouting for cheese. Or is he? Maybe he is actually scouting for cheese. Interesting. So BeatFlitz is afraid of something proxy from Slammer. I think
I don't
Slammer
mind
is
it.
the last person I would expect something like a cheese or proxy.
Nah, I don't think that's that weird. I've seen him proxy 2 den before, I
Oh,
think.
really?
So
Okay.
yeah. I don't think he would do it in game 3 after how safe he's been playing. I don't think that's the right read. Like I don't think the last 2 games you get out of this, you think that he's gonna cheese you game 3 like this. Slammer is being uber careful every game.
Yeah. And now the Raiders will meet. No, okay, they've seen. Okay, now the Raider Wars begins. So both players opening with the arguably safest opening you can do. You like that? Like the idea to say, well, let's do this Raider stuff.
I like the one den a little bit more on ice cold. Just for one, if it lets me avoid a Raider mirror, it's kind of nice. For two, like the wolf, like it's a big enough map that I find the wolf can get across early enough to put some light pressure on a castle first. And the main issue is I just want the wolf to get on their side and just make sure I'm in a normal game. And yeah, I just don't mind playing it out from there. I think the wolf openings on bigger maps is better just because you get that scouting info so early with the wolves. I think bigger maps are, in a weird way, more friendly to cheese. So having that info early can be quite nice. I like what BeatFlitz is doing. This is something I've done quite a bit as well. I typically prefer, and I've talked to him about this, I like doing the dens before the third base when I play Archer. And I like doing the third before I add these 2 dens when I play Raider.
Yeah, you're a bit ahead of me. I only see now the 2 dens.
Okay,
so I'm at
pausing.
4 minutes now.
Okay, I'm about 20 seconds ahead of you.
Yeah.
I'll wait a bit.
Cool.
So this is a pretty normal transition that I've been doing for a while now. Pretty regular in my games when I play the rack stuff is this either 2 den and third or third and 2 den. Doesn't really matter too much the order you want to do it in. But it feels very strong as a way to just transition into beast off the racks. I mean, I doubt it's something crazy new. I'm sure people have been doing it for a while.
I honestly haven't seen it before you did it.
Okay.
Like, I haven't seen this transition, this in general game plan to open with Raiders and then transition into Wolves. But yeah, for me,
the Wolf Raider is strong.
Yeah, but I just never thought of it as a way to play. What do we think about this Snake Charmer? Kinda hidden, built by BeatFlitz.
I don't like it. Not a fan. I also do not like the move with the Raiders to go in the main.
Why? He can just blink out with no problem. And he already killed 1 worker. I think Slammer is doing a great job here. Okay, now he's maybe losing it.
I'm talking about BeatFlitz going in on the other side.
Ah, I see. Yeah, the 4 Raiders. But he also killed quite a lot already, right? He killed 2 archers, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, the trade so far has been good for BeatFlitz.
Yeah, but he cannot get out.
There was a moment where the trade was going very good for BeatFlitz, and he had a flash to get out of the natural, and then he chose to flash. He used his last flash to go back into the main.
Yeah, that was... Ooh, he lost all Raiders now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of GG already, I would say. Because, oh my god, losing 4 Raiders, that's giving you all the map presence and ooh. Yeah, and there's still a Raider from Slammer in the base from BeatFlitz. Yeah. He still needs to deal with that. That's
I absolutely do not like this decision to go for the 4 den. I think it's a big mistake.
What else would you do?
I think whenever... Oh no! Well, the thing is, when you're playing this style, whether or not you do the dens or the third, like whatever order you do it in, you do not start wolves out of the dens until you drop the third.
Ah, okay.
The Raiders give you a lot of map control, and the 2 dens build wolves so fast, and the Raiders give you so much information that if they try and push across the map too early, you simply start your wolves earlier than you would like to, and then the Raiders can cut off the rally and then sit behind. And then once you've got like 4 wolves, you sandwich them between Wolf Raider. And it's very nice because the raiders come in and they do big nuking damage as their first shot, and then you target fire the hurt units with the wolves.
Yeah.
And it's very, very devastating.
Yeah, and Slammer already scouted with the 4 archers the third base location for BeatFlitz. So I think Slammer expects him to have the third base location in front of his main, maybe. Or he just assumes that there's no third base yet, which would be the right assumption. I don't know if the rules are really scary for this many archers.
I don't know. I think Slammer has balls of steel for his raiders seeing the Forden and the Snake Charmer, and he didn't build a tower. I think that is, I think that's really ballsy, and I think it gives me some hope for. I mean, like in the sense that, like, it makes a miracle kind of possible, but there's just not enough snakes and not enough density of wolves that when the archers can hang out in the gold mine and the workers can protect him.
Yeah, and he's just doing it perfectly. So Slammer really showing his experience here.
Yeah, as long as the archers don't go too far outside of the gold mine, they're pretty safe. Yeah. And the Forden, I do not think Forden is something that is strong at all unless there is a very specific reason. Like, if you have a massive lead off of the openings, sure, it's a way. Like, if you have such a massive lead that your opponent is basically on crutches, the Forden is you kicking their crutch out. Yeah. And you're just trying to end the game. But this game was pretty darn even.
Well, until BeatFlitz lost 4 raiders because he was
until he lost 4 raiders.
Yeah.
And the painful part about him losing those raiders is he was using them well. I think actually getting some nice trades, but then he could have very easily flashed out and I think kept them all alive. But it's just one of those, I think, just tournament moments where your brain flatlines and you just make a silly, like, ridiculous decision that you shake your head at for the next week. It happens.
Yeah. Now, right now, he has no chance anymore with the wolf snake versus archers, soldiers, catapults. Like, there's no way he can do anything with the wolf snake combo now, I think. Especially because it's equal supply. He's ahead. I think he was ahead 10 supply or something, like very, very minor advantage in supply. And Rex is just so much stronger than what Beast units can do.
We have a big issue here too. Is BeatFlitz he's got a stunted economy, and you see he's trying to go into workshops, advanced workshop, and dragon, and upgrade all at the same time. And he's been cutting he's been cutting units on the dens. So he's doing this big greedy tech swap, and he hasn't been producing units. And so I think this.
And the bird from Slammer scouts it immediately, like the perfect timing. Workshops are 50%, and the bird from Slammer shows it. And look at Slammer, he's already on the way. He's already moving over because he knows he's ahead. So now we have to see how BeatFlitz deals with that. But I think with less 10 supply less, he's really in trouble now. Okay, he pulls the workers too. But maybe he has to, he pulls the workers from the third base as well. So maybe he can fight back. But he really needs to hold this. Yeah, Snake's focusing the soldiers is okay. But he needs to do something about the catapults as well. And the archers are still alive.
This is just a very good call at a Slammer, really leaning on BeatFlitz. I mean, I think this was holdable. Had BeatFlitz not been so greedy with his swap. The dens had a lot of idle time, and he just tried to get into too much tech and upgrades all at the same time in a spot where he's economically behind. So I think maybe if he was producing off the 4 dens constantly, and he had just gotten maybe a single workshop earlier, I think this is holdable without a doubt. And then we've got a game on our hands, but. We're just seeing a very decisive timing push by Slammer with a lead, walking right into a...
Yeah, killer instinct, he just knew.
Yeah,
he was a bit lucky as well, because the decision from BeatFlitz to skip production in the dance as well played into his hands, but alas, it would have been a strong push anyways. Like, even without it...
would have been holdable.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was actually the only way BeatFlitz had back in the game was defending something like that. So I don't like the idea of necessarily stopping production at
Oh,
all.
look at this. Man, I knew it was coming. Yeah, BeatFlitz not happy with himself. But I was way
And
too
yeah,
greedy, yeah. So,
that's fine. I mean, the issue here is with Slimer's production setup is BeatFlitz came across the map a while ago, and he sees like 4 racks. Like just simply on BeatFlitz's vision alone, he
hmm,
sees the 4 racks, 2 at the 3rd, 2 at the natural.
hmm,
Um, you can click on the units, see they've got no upgrades, and just, I mean, he knew it. He knew he was greedy. He even typed out he was way too
hmm,
greedy.
hmm.
So, just a hard position to be in. I think he, knowing he was probably down in economy, was just trying to go for a Hail Mary.
Ah,
Go for the big greedy tech swap, and maybe you get away with it.
yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
but I also bet I think he thought he had a little bit more time before the push showed up. Uh,
Yeah, just shows
I think
Slammer's timing.
yeah, Slammer wasn't fooling around.
Yeah.
Slammer looks like he cut workers even, like he stopped building them after like 30 and just went for a big, like decisive push. And I really like the workshop with Slammer, like just bringing the catapults.
It's
The
so much.
catapults are there.
It's so much value and damage and stuff.
Yeah, I just like the catapults with it a lot. The catapults are really just saying you're not going to hide behind towers. Like you need an army.
Hmm.
Um, so a really decisive game out of Slammer, I think.
Yeah.
Just playing a little bit more solid in this game 3. It's good to see game 3 wasn't decided by some kind of tech snowballing again, though.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, great series in any ways, and BeatFlitz like really getting better a lot and quickly as well. So yeah, really looking out to BeatFlitz in like a month or something, and then he may be able to be on par kinda with the likes of you and AC or Squarewood. I can see that, but he needs to, I think, just a bit more improving, like a bit more game sense. I think the difference is not that big. It's just looking like big because it makes so much difference in games
Yeah,
on this level.
yeah. I
One
think,
big decision wrongly, and then yeah, it's over. Like this
yeah,
flash with the
I
Raider,
definitely,
like you wouldn't
yeah,
do
I
it. Square
definitely
Root wouldn't
think,
do it. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think his macro and stuff seems to be fine, but his decision making seems sometimes like it'll be fine half the time, and then the other half of the time I'm just like, what? Why? Um,
Yeah.
So I think if he's in the game and he just kind of develops a more stable set of like decisions he likes to go for and
Hmm.
plays a little bit more, I think calm and collected in his games, I think
Mm.
he'll have a better time.
Yeah, you can
Uh,
help him in that department, I think.
yeah, I definitely try to help whoever anyone on the team, uh, but it just takes time. And I think the part that exacerbates the problem is I think being in a best of 3 for something like this, and there was a lot of pressure on him
Yeah.
to score well. So that doesn't help if you've got nerves.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's a huge thing that he can take a one map of Slammer already. I think Slammer was the clear favorite here. And seeing him taking a map is awesome. I really like that. Although, yeah, although I expected Slammer to win, I'm still happy for BeatFlitz to be able to make it harder for him. And yeah, I mean, it's perfectly summarized. The decision making of BeatFlitz made a lot of difference in the series. And yeah, maybe it could have gone another way if he just chooses to do different things in a different way or later or earlier. So yeah, really great series though. I especially the series where we have like newer players play versus older players are very interesting to me, just to see how much the general game experience matters. And as you can see, I mean, new players take maps off of older players who are supposedly a lot more versatile and experienced. But experiences brings you only so much. You still have to play the game. So yeah, I really like it. Really great series. And I think that concludes the games for today. So thanks for joining,